Hello, you guys, and happy February Q&A. It has been such a fun month. I've loved seeing you all at our guest artist classes and our group classes and our virtual studio circles. And I finally have some questions, and I've written them down in my little field notes. And these are actually, this is, by the way, if you're a teacher, or if you're a student, or if you're just somebody with lots of thoughts that you need to scribble down, this is invaluable. A little thing like this is just invaluable. So thank you so much to Tristan and to Chris for your questions. If I've missed a question and you asked a question, I apologize. I usually go back to the Q&A video from the previous month and just see what comments are there. So if you have questions, comment them below in this video, in the post, and I will make sure to answer them for March. So anytime you have a question, come back to the Q&A video post, this one, and comment your questions below, and I will be sure to answer them. So Tristan says, best bowing practices to prevent bow bouncing and screeching when scratching strings. So we all definitely are guilty of making screechy and scratchy sounds when we cross strings. But I think one of the best ways to practice that is, first of all, just make sure that your setup is very good. So for example, if your violin is over here, everyone's body is different. So this is what would happen to me if I was over here. And I just put my bow up like this. It kind of, you can see it doesn't really look straight. I'd have to work to keep it straight. And so if I just move my violin like this, and I just put my arm up comfortably, it's just kind of naturally straight. So you want to find a position where your bow is naturally straight. And then we're going to make sure that you bring your entire arm with you when you change strings. As you evolve when you're violining and violaing, you'll be able to do this faster, and there'll be more subtlety in the way that you move across the strings. But just to go back to the very beginning, make sure you bring your whole arm with you when you change strings, and you can use your elbow as a little helper. So 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and a little bit shy of 6 o'clock. And if you're playing like this on the E string, you know something is wrong. Or if you're playing like this on the G string, something's wrong. So bring your whole arm with you when you change strings. Next, let's make sure that you give yourself time to change strings and that you don't use too much bow. So for example, let's pop over to the A string. I'm going to just use a little bit of bow. Stop, and then I'm going to bring my whole arm to the next string. Make sure it's straight, has good contact. Another thing to keep in mind is your contact point. So if I was to just move down here and keep the same weight, it doesn't matter how cleanly I change strings, it's not going to sound good, because this is not the best place for my bow to be if I'm kind of using my normal amount of weight. If I'm very light. And Chris, we've got 3 questions from Chris. So he says, would you ever work as a studio musician? Would you ever record a full album? And thoughts on songwriting, composing, and arranging? And so I'm so excited to answer these questions. I have worked as a studio musician, but it was just for a friend of mine's album. And the thing with being a studio musician, in my experience, and I know about this much from it, is that, time is money. Time is money. And so if you're a very good sight reader, that really helps. What they're going to do is put a metronome on your head. You're going to be wearing headphones, and in the headphones you're going to hear the click of the metronome, and you'll hear the music that you're going to be playing along with. And then you have to play your part along with that part and stay with the click of the metronome. So playing with the metronome is so important to be able to be musical and do exactly what's on the page, with the least amount of repetition and mistakes and everything, because like I said at the beginning, time is money. So for me, I would find that extremely stressful. I know some people are very, very good at that. It's just not something that I'm able to do. So, no, I wouldn't work as a studio musician. But it's funny because the second question is, would you record a full album?